It is Mallinckrodt and Express Scripts.
Right.
Is this let's be clear, is this a short thesis on both stocks?
It is, and the reason we talked about both companies in my presentation is we think they underscore the problem with pharmaceutical pricing in the United States. And they're both great shorts. Overpricing. And they're both great shorts on their merits fundamentally. But the fact that there's a linkage between the two made it interesting to us. And, of course, the geographical location. But,
St. Louis.
St. Louis. But the drug that Mallinckrodt sells that is over 100% of their operating profitability right now is a drug called Acthar, which has been around since 1952. And is really only has efficacious studies for one indication out of the many it gets used for. But the fact of the matter is it's a drug that has gone from $40 to $35,000 over the past 15 years. And that's outrageous in our opinion. And companies like Express Scripts, PBMs, rather than trying to work to eradicate these costs, have actually accelerated them. And that's the issue.
The PBMs, of course, are supposed to negotiate lower drug prices on behalf of their clients.
Right, but in fact, they benefit, the independent ones like Express, they benefit from rising drug prices. And that's the paradox. And we want people to understand.
You believe that PBMs like Express Scripts, independent of this particular example, are guilty of drug price inflation.
And I'm not the only one. Their biggest customer, Anthem, sued them over this issue, saying that they overcharged them for $15 billion.
Jim, you mentioned something in your presentation that is very intriguing. You accuse these two companies of having a Philidor-like relationship. And we remember Philidor as the rock, the iceberg that put a big hole in Valiant's boat.
Yeah. Well, there's three companies that are subsidiaries of Express Scripts that specifically do business with Mallinckrodt's Acthar. United Bioscience, CuraScript, and Accredo. And we go into in our presentation just how these subsidiaries are used to control distribution of this very overpriced drug. And again, in our view, a company like Express Scripts should be working to eradicate the use of expensive drugs with questionable efficacy like Acthar.
So how does this thesis play out? What's the catalyst? Is it a senator in Congress holding a hearing? Is that what it's going to take?
We'd love Senator McCaskill or anybody else to take a look at this.
Or a regulator for that matter.
Because taxpayers are paying for this. And this is now a predominantly taxpayer reimbursed drug in the United States, Acthar. So it's not just the private profit motive. We're all paying for this. And that's the problem. And I think, in an environment where the government can't negotiate drug prices, we're seeing a situation where, in fact, factors are coming to inflate them. And I think that the Acthar Express Scripts linkage is a good place for Congress to start.
Well, the one problem some people may cite is that you're counting on either a politician or a regulator to take action.
Not at all.
Because if that were the case, people could draw parallels to Herbalife, for example.
Sure. And not at all. And in fact, no, because Herbalife isn't being paid for by the taxpayers. It's a private deal. But more importantly, the business at Mallinckrodt has rolled over anyway. And Express Scripts is facing profit pressure anyway. So both of these companies have seen problems well before me highlighting this relationship.
Mallinckrodt's trading at about 41 bucks. It's gone down a little bit since you began your presentation. What's it worth?
Well, again, there's $8 billion of debt here. And the operating income over the most recent quarter annualized is under $300 million. So
put a value on it.
Well, I think the debt's not worth 100 cents on the dollar. So what does that tell you about the stock?
Zero.
We think it's a zero.
Really?
Yeah. If Acthar goes the way we think it will, then the stock is worth nothing.